Hello friends, welcome to Manu Law Classes. I am Gautam Dikshit, GK and Current Affairs faculty. In this video, we are going to discuss the Daily Hindu analysis of October 6, 2021. Now, some of the important news are Election Commission has allotted a new name and symbols to LJP faction. So, it is the function of Election Commission to give new names and symbol to the political parties. Then Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen, she is going to visit India soon, and climate change and renewable energy will be top of her agenda. Then today the National Day of China was on 1st October. Taiwan will celebrate its National Day on 10th of October. So following the National Day, China is sending the fighter aircraft in the air zone of Taiwan. So President Tsai Ing-wen of Taiwan, she has warned of catastrophe if Taiwan falls. Now some of the important news that opposition closes rank in Lakhimpur Kheri aftermath. So we have already discussed that the 4 cars of minister's convoy killed 4 farmers and the 4 from the convoy were also killed. So now even after the announcement of compensation and ex gratia, witnesses spoken that minister's son was firing at victim while fleeing the accident site. Now the next and very important news for today is the award of Nobel Prize Award for Physics. Now this is awarded to US Japanese scientists Yuguro Manabe, Klaus Hasselmann of Germany and Giorgio Parsisi of Italy. They have won the Nobel Physics Prize for climate models and understanding of the physical system. It means that they have developed such a climate model which helped in understanding and forecasting the impact of global emission on climate change in future. The second is Moody's rating. Moody's is a rating agency. It has upgraded the India's rating from negative to stable, basically because of 2 things, that slowing down of risk from COVID-19 due to improved vaccination, and the next one is the negative feedback between the real economy and the financial system. So there is a negative feedback. It means that if there is a problem in financial system, the real economy will grow at slower rate. Okay, so the negative feedback का मतलब होता है कि यहाँ पे उल्टा होगा. फाइन. तो अब हमारा जो फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम है, इट इज़ वर्किंग, इट इज़ ट्राइंग टू recover, but still there is a debt burden on our financial system. Okay, so these are some of the problem, that is negative feedback. Now the rating has been retained at Baa3, which reflects the lowest investment grading rate by Modi. Now the expected growth is 9.3%. The RBI's expected growth forecast is 9.5%. Now if you will read on page 8, you will find out that some of the other issues highlighted by the Moody's report is the issue of debt. So during COVID-19 pandemic, the debt or deficit of the government has risen at the same time, which has lowered the fiscal strength of the government, or you can say India. So the debt level in India is very high. Okay, and this can offset the positive current account, the positive sentiment which has been generated by the lowering of current account deficit. So current account deficit is, it includes balance of trade as well as it includes services or invisible. So current account is divided into 2, merchandise and services, which is also called as visible and invisible, and some other factors. So the current account surplus, we will say, it has slowed down, but still it was in positive range because of enhancement in service export, but due to increasing debt of government, this current account surplus may not help too much in reviving the economy according to the report. Now here it is very important, they can ask you Char Dham Yatra. So if you will see the Char Dham Yatra, then Yamunotri, from where Yamuna originates, Gangotri, from where Ganga originates, Kedarnath and Badrinath. These all 4 are called as Char Dham Yatra. Along with that, we have Hemkund Sahib, a religious place, holy place for Sikhs. It all are in Uttarakhand. Now Denmark Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen, now she is going to visit India. and this will be the first visit since February 2020. Now see, the important talk which is going to take place over here is that under the we have already announced green strategic partnership with Denmark. Under this, it is expected to discuss investment in India renewable energy technology, supply of green technology, and outline their climate positions on reducing carbon emissions ahead of the upcoming of COP26 UN Summit on Climate Change in Glasgow. Okay, so this COP26 is under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which is going to be held in Glasgow in Scotland in November. Now, India is a big market for renewable energy. India has this ambitious aim of installing 450 gigawatt of renewable energy in India by 2030. The next will be green strategic partnership. The progress of the green strategic partnership will also be done. Okay, and here the Denmark is going to finance the technological support for various projects, including Energy Island. We are building Energy Island, it is very important, off the coast of Tamil Nadu in Gulf of Mannar. Okay, there is a proposal for setting up 4 to 10 gigawatt of wind power energy. Now 13 and 13A. So there is India Sri Lanka Accord, okay, which under Article 13, which says that provincial councils should be established in Sri Lanka, and this is called as political devolution of power, and election should be held for electing the members to this provincial council. These all are covered under the 13th amendment, which was the outcome of India Sri Lanka Accord in 1987. The second, which is going on between India and Sri Lanka, is about the regional security. So Sri Lanka is looking up to India to muster support for declaring Indian Ocean a peace zone. It is a proposal of Sri Lanka since 1971, proposed by then Prime Minister Srimavo Bandaranaike. Then the next is about the increasing drug trafficking in the South Asian region, which both countries have agreed to counter it collective and not to make Sri Lanka a conduit or a passage for drug trafficking. The second is about the projects. So we have already know that West Container project is being developed by Adani Group and Sri Lanka's John Keells Holdings and Sri Lanka Port Authority. This is very important. Okay, this may be asked in exam. So they will be jointly developing the West Container terminal at Colombo Airport. Earlier, India and Japan were awarded the contract to develop East Container Terminal at Colombo Airport, at Colombo Port, but due to local pressures, the contract was unilaterally cancelled. The next is about the Trincomalee oil tank farm in the eastern part of the Sri Lanka, which India is developing and where Sri Lanka has proposed to cooperate favorably. The next is one-liner type, maybe asked in exam. The Director General of Civil Aviation, he has launched the voluntary safety reporting system, okay, which will not substitute. We already have one mandatory safety reporting system, okay, that will continue to function, but now there is a voluntary system reporting system. Okay, it is a web-based system for voluntary reporting of incidents that pose a potential threat to flight safety. Now, health benefit package under Ayushman Bharat has been revised. So now in the revised version of the health benefit package, the National Health Authority, which is the apex body for implementing Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Arogya Yojana, ABPMJAY, this is the health insurance scheme for families identified by socio-economic caste census. Now here there are certain retweak in health benefits packages in their rates. Okay, some packages their rates have been increased by 20% to 400% under the PMJY. The next is that Anganwadi workers will also get the insurance under this scheme. Okay, now about the Air Force, Indian Air Force Air Chief Marshal Vivek Rai Chaudhary was recently appointed as the Chief of Air Staff. Now here he is referring to one very important point, which is called as S400 regiment. Now S-400 is a missile developed by Russia and which India is eager to purchase for its air defense system. Okay, Turkey is also interested in buying this S-400. So it is for the air defense system. So the air defense system is like Iron Dome of Israel. So in air defense system of India there are two layers. One layer consists of Prithvi air defense, Prithvi missile. The second layer will consist of S-400 missile. So Prithvi is the indigenously developed missile by India. S-400 missile will be procured from Russia. Services PMI flags first hiring since November. Now some good news are coming. We had a growth in index of industrial production. The core sectors grew by 11.2%. Now the services purchasing managers index released by IHS Markit survey based purchasing manager index, it has shown that if we see the India services business activity index, it rose to 56.7 in August, and in September it was 55.2. okay, now due to loosening of COVID-19 curves and receding of COVID-19 wave, the demand has increased and hence the footfall for service business has increased. Okay, and it has enhanced the business confidence and which has led to revival. The one challenge which remains is of inflationary pressure, high fuel cost, material, retail and transport prices pushed up to the level where the consumer is feeling burdensome. Okay, the next challenge to the services sector was travel curve. As we know, due to COVID-19 lockdown, the travel and hospitality, tourism and hospitality sector suffered a lot along with the travel sector. Now concern news, we are seeing or we are witnessing blackouts in China. Now see, the coal in India will there are 64 power plants in India which have coal less than 4 days. Why it is so? Because due to rainy season the production of coal takes a hit. Second, due to increase in import prices due to recovery of global demand, so there is a shortage of coal in thermal power plant. That's why if you will see this news, it is connected with this news. So that's why center has allowed the captive mines to sell 50% of their coal. Now what is captive mines? Captive mines are those mines that produce the coal. Okay, they are allocated the mines and they can produce the coal. They can produce the coal only for their mines. Okay, means they are not going to buy the coal from the market or Coal India Limited. Okay, there will be mines and there will be a thermal power plant. So these mines will be in the ownership of thermal power plant. So now 50% or half of this supply will go to the other thermal power plant to manage the shortage. Now MFI, we have an editorial also on this today. So microfinance institutions, they have urged Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to allocate rupees 75,000 crore under the credit guarantee scheme. Okay, why? Because earlier they were given the credit guarantee scheme, but the banks, they have exhausted it. What is the importance of microfinance? Why it is necessary in country like India? We will come to know when we will read editorial. One thing, one factual information which is over here is that Sadhan is the self-regulatory body for microfinance institutions. Okay. The next is the World Trade Organization headquartered in Geneva in Switzerland. They have projected that a global merchandise trade. Global merchandise trade means the trade in goods, not in services. Okay. When we include trade in goods and trade in services together, we call it as current account. And when we are talking only of goods or merchandise, it means we are talking about balance of trade. So balance of trade are of three types. Positive balance of trade means export is greater than import. Negative balance of trade means import is greater than export. Balanced balance of trade, which is neutral, okay, that means that export is equal to import. Now over here, according to WTO report, says that the merchandise trade will grow 10.8%, okay, which will be higher than the 8% which was earlier estimated in March. Youth hit by COVID's mental toll according to UNICEF. So over here, UNICEF is a fund under the United Nations. Now UNICEF global flagship report is called as the State of the World's Children 2021 is the flagship publication of UNICEF. This year the title of this project is My Mind: Promotion, Protecting and Caring for Children's Mental Health. This report was released by incumbent Health Minister of India, Sri Mansukh Mandavia. Now, some of the important points in this report is that according to this survey, which was carried out in 21 countries, about 41% of young people in India said that it is good to seek support for mental health problems. Okay, and if you will see the global average, so 83% youth in the world said that it is good to take mental health support for mental health problem. Now, for the first time, it has been recognized that the COVID-19 was the test of mental stress for the entire society. Now, some factual information, if you will have, that around 14% of those who are between 15 to 24, okay, or 1 in 7 reported often feeling depressed or having little interest in doing things. Okay. Now, who is the representative, UNICEF India representative? So, Dr. Yasmin Ali Haq. Now, coming to the editorial, so over here there is the based on the Supreme Court judgment and the affidavit filed by the Union Health Ministry, the rupees 50,000 ex gratia to be paid from the State Disaster Response Fund to the next of the kin who died because of COVID-19 or committed suicide after testing positive for COVID-19 will be given rupees 50,000 ex gratia amount. Second, a committee will be, the disbursement will be carried out by District Disaster Management Authority. Now, there is the third important thing about this is that within 30 days the claim should be settled. Okay, and the transfer will be based on Aadhaar based bank account. The next is that there are some problems related to get the certificate from the hospitalization. So there will be a district level committee which will be directly contacting the hospital to obtain the certificate. The next is about the IMD, Indian Meteorological Department. Now, if we will just see some figures, so we will see that for this year, India received 87.4 centimeters of rainfall between June and September. Okay. The normal rainfall received in India is 88 centimeter. So there is a shortfall of 0.7%. The next is that in August and India was staring at an all India monsoon rainfall deficit of nearly 9%. Okay, but we saw that in September there was more than normal monsoon rainfall. So we get normally 17 centimeter of rainfall in September, but this year we got 22.9 centimeter, which is more than the 19 centimeter in August. Okay, now if we will look at the facts, so we will see that in 2021 we received less than normal rainfall, but if we just see the 2020, India received 109%, means more than the average rainfall which India, this long period average means the rainfall which India is receiving over the period of 30 years. Okay, whenever we calculate any climatic parameters, we take long term average or long period average, which is normally 30 years. So India has received 109% of the long period average of rainfall, and in 2019 it was 110%. There were 3 years in 1996, 1997 and 1998 when India got 3 consecutive years of normal or above normal rainfall. Now 2019 and 20 we received more than normal rainfall. In 2021 it was expected that we were going to get good rainfall, but we didn't get it. The average rainfall is 88 centimeter, but we just got 87.4 centimeter. The next is that much of the rain was focused in South India. Okay, and northeast and eastern India they received below normal rainfall. Okay, now if you will see, is it a cause of concern? So we can see that no, it is not a cause of concern, because northeast region already received very heavy rainfall. So shortfall in rainfall is not going to cause any concern over there. Okay, now the important thing over here is that Kharif crop. Okay, there is a there can be a damage to kharif crop because there was no rainfall in July and August, and in September it was very heavy rainfall. So there is a concern that kharif crop may suffer a little because of this erratic rainfall, but surely we are going to get record surplus for rice, pulses and oil seeds. Now coming to this microfinance editorial. Now see this microfinance editorial. It is based on the Reserve Bank of India's recently published consultative document on regulation of microfinance, where this document proposes of removing the maximum ceiling on setting up the rate for microfinance. Now, what is microfinance? So see, here the exact definition is that microfinance is a finance which is of small quantity, which is of small number, a small amount of cash which is required by poor rural household, especially to meet their day-to-day expenses. Now here the author is building up a point that why this privatization of microfinance and not fixing the ceiling of maximum rate in microfinance may lead to more problems for the poor people. Now if we will just see that according to the present rule, the microfinance institutions like and non-banking financial companies who are in the microfinance institutions, they will be charging the interest rate based on the cost of fund. मीन्स NBFC ने फंड बोरो किया बैंक से माइक्रो फाइनेंस लोन देने के लिए, तो वो कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड जो भी है बैंक से जो उसने लिया, बैंक को जो इंटरेस्ट रेट देना है दैट विल बी कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड प्लस मार्जिन ऑफ 10% एंड for larger microfinance institutions and only 12% for others. Or the second way of calculating the interest rate is average base rate of 5 largest commercial bank multiplied by 2.75. If we just look at various small financial banks and NBFCs, MFIs, we will see that their normal interest rate is about 22 to 26%, which is way higher than what the scheduled commercial banks lend to normal loans. The second thing is that who are those people who are majorly borrowing this microfinance institutions? So we will see that these are poor people, peasants, wage workers, scheduled caste, backward classes. Second, they are not buying this money for productive activity. Productive activity मतलब जिससे income आ सके. They are buying it for meeting their day-to-day expenses. So this very high rate of interest rate by microfinance institution can be very problematic for them. If we will just compare it with the agricultural loans given by Primary Agriculture Credit Society based on the case study in Tamil Nadu, so it is hardly 4%. Then if we will see the structure of microfinance loan, so there are many layers in it which increases the cost of borrowing. For example, there will be an interest rate which will be charged, which will be the part of this loan. Then the interest rate will be in the range of 31%. Then there will be processing fee of 1%. Okay, so these are some of the factors which increases the cost of loan. Then the next is the way the debt is collected. So RBI prohibits collecting the debt from borrowers' residence, but over here in microfinance many borrowers they have reported that the debt collector, they often visit their house and use bad language for collecting the loans. Now microfinance institutions as a medium of financial inclusion of poor people, it germinated in 1990s. Then later on, due to the profitability involved in it, many private microfinance institutions entered the market, and it led to a very a scam in Andhra Pradesh. Then there was a need for regulating it, but now privatizing it or removing the ceiling is detrimental to the poor people. The next editorial is about again AUKUS and quadrilateral security dialogue. Over here the article is discussing that AUKUS, which is the security alliance between Australia, UK and US, how it is different from Quad, and India being the member of Quad and not AUKUS, how it can change the dynamics or the geopolitical dynamics in Indo-Pacific region, particularly Indian Ocean, where India sees itself as the net security provider. Now, there are two things over here, that once AUKUS takes place, under which the nuclear powered submarine will be supplied to US, and if that is deployed in the Indo-Pacific region, so China will be threatened. So definitely what China can do is that China can increase its presence in waters of Indian Ocean, which can jeopardize the Indian interest. The second is that India and China, they share the land boundary. So if there is problem in Indo-Pacific, China can raise the problem at the LAC, which can be problem for India. Third, China has its ally in Pakistan, where the whole Pakistani missile and nuclear weapon program can be used against India to control India. So this is the problem. The second can be that whatever deal India is doing with France or any other country for buying the submarines, there can be data leak, as it was observed in 2016 when the DCNS which was producing the 6 Scorpion submarine was leaked. Now, how India balances it? Now see why India is looking at Quad only as a security dialogue. So according to India, India shares land border with China, and according to India, if there is a war between both the countries, land based war, so no countries can going to fight the war for India. Second is that India has observed it that since India is the member of Quad, so China has raised the LAC issue more frequently in the past. So that's why India does not see itself as the net security provider in Indian Ocean region, but as the preferred security partner. Okay. Now the second is how Quad is different from AUKUS. So AUKUS is the military alliance, Quad is the strategic dialogue between 4 countries. The next is the challenge of going back to school. So over here the schools are reopening and there is the focus on safety of children, but author is now mentioning over here that there should be focus on equity. Means special efforts should be made for children, especially from the disadvantaged backgrounds who were disconnected during the pandemic from the schools, that they return to the school. The second is the need for effective and regular communication with parents. The third is to support students' socio-economic development. The fourth is to reorganize the curriculum to reinforce the core academic skills, which focuses especially on language learning and mathematics. The fifth, the author is suggesting, is extending the learning time and hire the additional teachers wherever needed. The sixth is to enhance teacher training and regular support for teachers, and the last is to secure the additional funding to address the crisis. Now if we start from funding, we will see that many countries have increased their funding for education, but there are some countries like India, along with Bangladesh, Morocco, Nigeria, Philippines and Ukraine, who have in this, many of them have increased the funding. But if you just see the India, there is 2% decline in education spending in India in the previous year, where the share of education was just 2.6%. so that is the problem over here. The next is, what about the migrant children? Millions of migrant children saw their education which got disrupted during the COVID-19, and many of them have left the school to earn the livelihood for their family. Then what about the children who were in private schools? So 40% of the school students in India are in private schools, and most of them are poor. Now 60% of the government and private schools report that they are struggling to control the dropouts and facing the financial challenges. Then over 25% of children who were previously enrolled in private schools switched to government school, according to the School Children's Online and Offline Learning Survey. Now many states have announced the bridge courses for students to help them to resume the textbook based learning. The next is, the author is emphasizing on language learning, which is important after the resumption of school. Then focus on mathematics, focus on reading. The last is support for teachers. So the guidance and support to teachers and schools, especially in elementary education, has to be focused on language learning core. So for this we need to train the teachers. Now the last is about the employment rises. So in September, 8.5 million new jobs were gained in September 2021. Mostly these jobs were added in rural India. Now this report is not of government, it is of CMIE, Center for Monitoring Indian Economy. Now the most of the jobs were constructed in construction and manufacturing sector. Okay. However, if you will see in urban areas, there is a decrease of job creation in construction and manufacturing jobs. Now if you will just see about the quality of employment, it has also improved as salaried jobs increased in both rural and urban regions. So that's all for today. We will meet tomorrow again with Daily Hindu News Analysis. Till then, take care. Have a nice day. Thank you.